What is going on, YouTube? This is Jim back with another gameplay video today. We're going to be looking at Stranded Deep. I'm going to play about the first 10 minutes of this game so that you don't have to. That's right, this game is laughably bad, and it's frustrating because this is a cool genre, but it is not executed well here at all. Before I get into today's Rift Track video, though, I would love for you guys to subscribe to the channel. Survival games are really kind of hit and miss. It's a very interesting genre, one that really takes, what you know of conventional video game, tropes or whatever, and really puts them on their head. A game where you are required to adapt and to survive. You have to get your own food, and you have to get your own water, and you have to scavenge and make weapons and survive against harsh elements or sometimes other players or really nasty NPCs. And there's been a lot of games that fill this bill. Stranded Deep is one that I think had an interesting idea where you're on this island and you have to kind of go from island to island to, scavenge for materials before moving on. But this game is just not a good entry point into the series. I should mention, by the way, I am playing this on my PlayStation 5. It is the kind of PlayStation 4 base of the game, though, that I'll be running here. So you're going to see some pretty ugly graphics and some nasty frame rates and lots of loading and other stuff. Keep that in mind. This is running on an older, software build. That said, there are a lot of things that I think this game just did not execute well. Polish in particular. You're going to see the first one here. How you can look down into your own body. How horrifying that not only are you stranded on an island, you're also stranded apparently from a head that connects to your body. Now, you see me here looking around. I am rapidly pressing buttons on my controller. You can't hear it, obviously, but I am feverishly trying to get this game to do anything. And it seems to have pixel perfect accuracy on where it wants you to look in order to interact with things. And it seems like, sometimes it wants you to press, sometimes it wants you to hold, sometimes it wants you to apparently smash the button. I'm not really sure, but it is a little frustrating because it just seems overall this game just doesn't have a good control scheme at all. Additionally, and I know this is a Unity-based game, it just seems like it's trying to do too much. The physics models don't seem to work well. The shadows, the textures, the lighting, it all seems to have some issues. I think you're going to see some here where I am somehow tethered to the raft as I'm dragging it, but the game doesn't really understand your spatial awareness in the world. So oftentimes it will load you inside of objects when you're interacting with them, like you saw my severed head. Sometimes when you bend down to pick something up, it wants to put you in a very specific place for that animation to occur, but it never really gave thought to how the rest of your body should look or where it should be. And oftentimes you have this very disjointed experience from kind of what should be happening. Now, I will say the only good thing this game has going for it, and I really do mean that because the sound design, the graphics, the gameplay, it's all not there. But I will say the one good thing this game does have going for it is a very basic but very, useful tutorial. So in the upper left, it's going to walk you through kind of the crafting system a little bit, and it's going to kind of teach you how to craft very basic tools. One of the tenets of any survival game, and this game is no different, is that you're going to craft tools to make better tools, to craft better tools, to make better tools. And it is a vicious, rigorous cycle, one that has really been seen, even back to Minecraft days, although I wouldn't really consider that. I guess it does have a survival mode, but you think about like, okay, you can't break this material with this pickaxe. You need to go make a pickaxe to break that. You harvest that material to go up the ladder technically, and you kind of tech up in that way. This game supports that as well. And there is an inventory system, and then there is a very basic crafting system that shows you kind of what you need to pick up and what you need to craft in order to make things. The fact that the controls are mapped to your trigger buttons, that you have to kind of press and hold them to navigate through the menu, as you see, does create a litany of input problems. Not to mention, as I said before, sometimes the buttons just don't work. Just flat out, you press a button and nothing happens, which is frustrating. As you kind of read through and try to figure out, like, what am I supposed to be doing here? What abilities do I need? It just kind of falls apart under its own weight. I'm not really sure. I'm trying to think back and put my head in the PlayStation 4 space. Where was I during, PlayStation 4 days? Yeah, these graphics were probably dated by then. Definitely very flat and muted and washed out colors, which again is frustrating because Unity is known for bright, vibrant, kind of voxel or pixel art games that have tons of color and ability to them. This game just has a very muted look to it. For being a tropical island that you are deserted on, it just doesn't feel very vibrant. You don't have good light or reflection or shadows that really draw contrast to what should be very vibrant blues and very lush greens. Instead, it's all this just almost shades of gray. Um, you're noticing now one of the other odd things about this game, and it's that your dude has some kind of like weird baby hand thing going on. The way that this is drawn, okay. I am not a world class artist. I do draw quite a bit now. I will say that. And you have to have a believable looking art style. The guy has way too much like puff underneath his hand, particularly where his thumb joints to his wrist. Your hand should taper into a wrist. Your wrist should be the smallest part of your hand before it kind of balloons back up to your arm or, into your fingers. Here, they added this unnecessary puff underneath the thumb, which is honestly incredibly distracting. You just have this feeling that there's something wrong with your dude. Like, what happened to this guy? Like, maybe he broke a bone when the plane crashed or something. I don't really know. It's very hard to get over. And considering that it's prominently displayed as you're going to be holding quite a bit of things in this game, the graphics and the animations just seem to get worse, if that's even possible. I just don't really understand what they were going for with this game. I just feel like somebody came together and said, "Hey, we have a cool concept. Let's make a game where you're island hopping with a boat. And you could see out in the periphery there are other islands to explore. You're going to have to build a raft or have your raft and sail around and look for materials." It's very nomadic in that sense, and I give them credit for that. But then you add in these very wonky animations like looking down and seeing your feet that don't always necessarily move when you walk. The way that you pick things up or like that. I don't know what the hell that was. I guess that's carving the crab, but it's not even like the right height. You're not kneeling down. If they wanted to keep everything in engine, if they wanted to keep everything locked in from a first person perspective, they really should have done a much better job of actually animating those things so they look believable. Try not to, try to suspend the disbelief of, cutting out into a third person fixed camera angle. Make it feel like your hands are in front of you, that you're actually kneeling down, that you're actually grabbing things, whatever. This game does not do that. It doesn't do that at all. And I think it's just so laughably bad that it's hard to even try to invest or to get into this experience at all. And I did play some point past this. It only gets worse from here, guys. It really does. The sound design isn't much to ride home about either. The graphics, like I said, just aren't there. The controls are laggy and unresponsive. If you want to play a survival game, you can do much better than this. I think this is one of those rare instances where a 60 score on Metacritic is honestly generous, considering it's just a chore to play And you could just see the litany of technical issues that I am starting to have. And I'm still on the starting island. I haven't even really interacted with things. You know, you'll see here in a minute, I go to climb a tree to get a coconut, and just how difficult it is to, you know, move your camera so that you're not clipping through things, because again, the game doesn't really do a very good job of giving you a spatial awareness of where you really are in the world, because of the way the graphics kind of overlay on everything. It makes it very difficult to navigate successfully. And I think, you know, this is a good example of a really budgety game that just is not a good entry point into a series. I think you can do much better playing other survival games. I think Valheim definitely rises to the top of the list there in terms of games that are just, you know, fun and actually meaningful to play. But not this one. No, no way. So I think I'm gonna wrap up this video here. I was gonna show you some more gameplay. I think I have 30 minutes of gameplay here, but I'm sitting here recording and I'm done with this, and I think you guys should be too. So do not do yourself the disservice that I have done to myself. Do not download this game. Thank you.